Hey guys, welcome back to One Else Pub. Man, do I hate FRN. Man, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. I despise FRN for a knife handle. Or do I? You look at the bar top here and you'd say to yourself, well, One All looks like you don't despise FRN quite as much as you claim. And the simple fact of the matter is, my tastes have changed, or evolved, let's say that, over time here. Traditionally, I don't like FRN. As a matter of fact, traditionally, I do hate it. I have, if you know me and talked to me at all about knives over the last 2 or 3 years, you would have heard me say many times, oh, FRN sucks. I would never buy an FRN-handled knife. Maybe a small, cheap one, maybe something like a, not cheap, but it's not really the correct term for it because these little ladybugs aren't necessarily cheap in the true sense of being inexpensive or built cheaply. They're not. But in the sense of like a small little knife, that you're just going to throw in your watch pocket or your coin pocket. Yeah, FRN's fine on that if you have to have it. I'd rather have the G10 version of this, but granted, that's quite a bit more money, so I'd sacrifice for that. I certainly wouldn't buy a full-size knife in that because, gosh, a full-size knife in FRN would just be, or Griv-Ex or Griv-Ex or whatever you want to call it, would just be unpleasant. Who would want that? That just doesn't even sound good because a full-size knife with FRN on it just feels cheap and terrible, and I wouldn't want to own one because I'd rather have G10 or titanium or carbon fiber because they just feel so much better in the hand. I probably would never buy any of that stuff because I don't like it. But clearly I do. Clearly my position has changed on this. I'm not going to say that FRN's not my favorite. It's still not my favorite, but I'm really over my hang-up on FRN. I really used to have a genuine hang-up where I would I don't want it. Keep it out of my face. I'm going to go ahead and clear some of these knives off of the. Some of these knives you may note are new to the channel here, and I will be reviewing them on their own, given time. But I'm trying to get this video out of the way so that as I start showing some of these newer FRN knives that I have, I've kind of got this as a precursor here, showing that I'm not completely a hypocrite, that my position has changed. Let's just grab one in general. Let's go with the Cold Steel Voyager large here, clip point. Griv-Ex, a form of FRN, close enough. It's a little bit different. Griv-Ex is a little bit different, so maybe a better example would be, I don't know, let's go with the old Spyderco Salt here, Dragonfly. Let's put these two out here as kind of big and a small here. And, well, just for kicks and giggles, let's go ahead and throw the Benchmade mini grip out there too. Kind of a small, medium, and large. Small, smaller, and small, smaller, and large. Anyway, you get my point. What's kind of made me change and evolve on this is just more of a desire to kind of try some different knives and do some different things. For longest time, I would only buy a G10 or a titanium or carbon fiber knife. I got into a lot of titanium frame locks with G10, show sides and whatnot. And but after a while, that same format, that same recipe. It's not that it gets old. It's just it's. I've done that. Maybe I should experience something else, give something else a try. So I started buying some knives that are cheaper. Let's say the Cold Steel here with these cheaper handles type scales. It keeps the price of the knife down and whatnot. And just kind of see what I thought of them because what the heck. And I discovered that actually once I kind of let go of my preconceived notion of FRN. And it's not that I ever thought FRN wasn't capable of being a knife handle. It clearly is. I don't dispute the fact that it's strong enough, even though it doesn't feel like it is. I don't dispute the fact that it's durable enough, even though it doesn't feel like it's all that durable. It's not necessarily cheap. It's inexpensive, but it's not cheap. Once I kind of let go of all my preconceived notions and my hang-ups with it, and just said, you know what, okay, it's an FRN knife. Accept it, get over it, and deal with the knife itself, discover that, gosh, this is really nice because I used to have the G10 version of this, but man, this is like way lighter. I really like how light this is. And man, you know, this is like a really light knife for how big it is. This is easy to carry in your pocket or in your EDC bag because it doesn't really add a whole lot of weight, and you get a really nice, big, strong knife. Yeah, the handle's not my favorite handle type, but so what, you know? Once I kind of started making those kind of rationalizations, if you want to call it, my opinion really changed, and all of a sudden I found myself buying more and more and more FRN handled knives, and now I'm to the point now where the fact that it has an FRN handle doesn't dissuade me at all from buying the knife. As a matter of fact, I kind of look at it as like, hey, you know what, that's going to make this knife lighter, so that's cool, and you know, it'll probably make the knife a little bit cheaper, so that's cool. You know, again, all things considered, would I rather have that in G10? You bet I'd like to have that in G10. And would I like to get maybe a custom scale, set of scales made for this in G10? But wouldn't that be sweet? I'm not saying I still don't prefer the other, but I'm just saying I'm not the anti-FRN person that I once was. Still not my favorite handle material, but by no means am I an anti-FRNer. You look at some of the knives on the table here. I'll pull out some more of these. Here's a little Cold Steel Mini Tough Light. Again, I'm going to do a lot. Actually, I'm going to a lot of these knives I'm going to do reviews on here in the future. This one, 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 this one. Actually, I already have one in the can for this one. And this one I won't do a review on specifically. And because this is, and not because, but I will just show that this is actually, this is a bird hawkbill, which I kind of dig the hawkbill. I've always kind of dug this blade shape. It's kind of a neat shape. It's not necessarily the most EDC friendly shape, but it just looks cool, and I've always liked them. I have a few hawkbills just because they're fun to have. This was my first experience with FRN, really, what I thought FRN knives were. First FRN knife I ever bought was a bird, and if you've ever felt bird's FRN, you know how cheap and crappy it feels. It doesn't, you know, you take Spyderco FRN, you typically find it on Delica or Enduro, or in this case on my Stretch here, and it really is light years ahead of the cheap feel of the bird FRN. And this is kind of what set my pattern for disliking FRN. Now, early on, you know, many years ago when I first started carrying folders, when I didn't know the term FRN from G10 from anything, I tended not to dislike any kind of plasticky knife in general. I always bought metal knives. My first real carry knife for many years was this Kershaw Vapor stainless steel frame lock. I just liked the feel of the metal, and that's probably still why I like titanium frame locks a lot. I just like the durable, solid feel of the metal. And a plasticky knife just was like, nah, just no thanks. Again, not an opinion formed from knowledge or formed from fact, just an opinion formed from personal taste. Just didn't care for the way they felt. And still, you know, you give me a knife that, you give me the feel of that, Chris Reeve sandblasted titanium, how nice that feels in the hand, that velvety texture of the Sebenza versus the decidedly not velvety texture of the Cold Steel Voyager series and its Griv-Ex / Grivery handles. And yeah, clearly this is still a far more tactily rewarding handle material, and just feels, you know, far better in the hand. But that said, from the standpoint of using a knife and having a knife that's durable and functional, FRN is a very viable material to use. And once you get past your early experiences, or in my case, once I got past my early experience with decidedly poor FRN, aka what's on the bird here, and kind of started experiencing some other FRNs that, like you find here on the mini grip. This is actually a very nice, and it does not feel cheap, really. At least as compared to this, it certainly doesn't. Not a bad feeling FRN at all. Certainly, this does not feel bad or cheap. Does it feel as good as the G10? No, but you get a trade-off. You get a considerably lighter and less expensive knife as well. How about this? again, and I will go over, I'm going to give this knife its own review, but this is the Cold Steel Raja 3, and this is a Griv-Ex or Griv-Ex handle, and it's got a nice texture into it for traction here, and it's got just in general, aside from the ergonomics of this handle, which are amazing, it does not feel bad in the hand at all. I mean, honestly, I would not know this was a plastic handle. I wouldn't know, but the plasticness of this handle does not come through my hand in a way. It does not tell my hand that's plastic constantly. Like, you hold this and you kind of always know that's plastic, or even you hold this and you kind of always know that's plastic, or you kind of always know that's plasticky. This doesn't. This feels really solid and doesn't feel. I don't feel that plastickiness in this. So this is a really nice example of that, let's say. But at any rate, like I said, all these knives I'm actually going to try to get a review of eventually here. Oh, looks like I caught myself. Sure did. Anyway, focus. Hi, Bert. Welcome back. So FRN, if you're one of these people like me who just goes, ugh, I hate plastic knives, I understand where you're coming from. But I'll also say you're actually limiting yourself. You're actually not allowing yourself to experience some otherwise pretty nice, usable, lightweight, very functional, very affordable knives. If you're the kind of guy that's only going to buy a $500 titanium frame lock, then none of these are going to interest you anyway. That's obvious. And I've been, I've owned those kind of knives too. I'm just saying that the knife universe is broader than just titanium and G10. And if you have a hang up with FRN, maybe you should think twice about it. I did, and I've actually come to the realization that I not only don't dislike it, on some formats, I actually like it. I'd rather have this in FRN now than G10 because it's lightweight. It's just, in my opinion, that's more important to me now. So it's just a changing evolution, of my tastes, I guess. But anyway, just thought I would talk about that before I get into reviewing these knives. And then I can reference this video in the review of those when I talk about their FRN handles. I don't have to go through this in each one of those. So anyway, thought I would do that. That's 1 all's 2 cents. Keep the change. Sláinte.